Hi, I'm Vasily, the host of the Daily Recall Show, and today you will learn how to apply expert problem solving skills to task management. Let's go. So, this is a very real problem that you have to deal with every day. And I've had people coming to me and saying that, the stuff that you're talking about is great, and all these methods and models and thought processes they're absolutely great, but they have nothing to do with me. And because I'm not launching spaceships to Mars, I'm not inventing our new steam engine and stuff like that. And that is why I thought that it would be great to give you guys a practical demonstration of what it means to actually know how to solve problems. And I picked productivity because this is what everybody wants, right? Everybody wants to do more stuff, either to make more money or to have more free time or whatever productivity can bring you, but everybody wants it. And very few people actually have it. So it's a very interesting problem that we can explore from this expert problem solving skills perspective. And the first idea that I want you to understand about productivity is that the same as when we start solving a problem, we actually never start from the definition of the problem as is. It's actually the same in doing your daily tasks. Okay, so let me explain what I mean by that. I've come up with a process and I call it the Iceberg process that I use for myself every day to actually be more productive and to do the right things, because that's more important than doing more things, okay? Because the right things actually help me get closer to my goal, whereas doing more things is just wasting time. So the process is as follows. Whenever a task shows up, or which might be an email, which might be just an idea in my head, which might be something that someone kind of sent me through Facebook Messenger or whatever, right? So there are all these inputs that come from the world. That's usually if it's actionable, that's usually a task or a project if it requires more than one action to complete. And the way most people just think about doing that and the way they kind of go about this problem is they just get to do this thing. Okay, so they do not do any kind of thinking at all, or whether this is a task or a project, or how can I actually deal with that in the best manner. And the way I do this by applying this problem solving skills that I'm talking about on this channel is by taking every single actionable item that comes from the world through the same 4-step process. And the first step is to identify precisely what it is and what has to be done about it, okay? So the very precise definition might actually have really high suggestive value. So for example, a friend actually reached out yesterday and asked to help her with some problem solving for her startup. And she just sent me a message in the messaging app, okay? So there is this input that kind of comes to me from the world. And then I immediately identify that this input is actually it's not just a task that I gotta help her or something, right? It's a part of a bigger project. So that's step one in this 4-step iceberg process. I call it the iceberg process because it's like this giant iceberg thing, and usually what you see is this tiny little thing in the top, and then you kind of get to uncover the rest of it, which is underwater. So the first step is to identify what is the right problem, what is the problem that we're solving here. And when she sent me this message, I immediately thought that, okay, this is not about me just replying to her or something, right? This is sort of a project, so I gotta help her to solve this problem because she's a friend of mine. So that's how I immediately went from the task as it is, which is to draft a reply or something, to a project which is to help my friend to solve this problem. And the project is basically a set of tasks, right? So that's step one. And then the next step that I do is to identify the problem that this project is supposed to solve. Okay, so in my problem solving videos, I call it creating a model of the problem of the situation that we have. And this is extremely useful because when you understand the model, when you understand the function of the project, you can actually come up with a different solution to it, which might be a way faster, a way simpler, and a way easier way to solve the problem that we're going to solve. Okay, and usually, like in my case, she reached out and asked if I could help you like brainstorm some ideas, right? And if I just went ahead and did that would be me solving the problem as is. But I actually like level up a little bit. I understand that this is not about me like spending 10 minutes with her brainstorming ideas. This is about helping her solve the problem that she has. And then I level up a little bit more and I go from the original definition of the problem that she sent me, which is brainstorm some ideas with me, to what is the actual problem that we're trying to solve here by doing this. Okay, this is very important because when I did that, I immediately realized that the solution she proposed, which was the first level, like the first task that she kind of sent me, right, was not actually the best way to deal with the problem. So that's step 3, to identify the problem behind the project, right? And then the step 4, which is to identify the correct problem, is actually meant to go from this like vague problem definition to the right problem definition, to identify what is the right problem to solve here. Okay, so in my like previous example, in my last video, I was talking that the way you go to their steam engine powered ship from the sailboat is not by adding more sails, right? So that's not the problem that you are solving. The right problem is to identify a faster way to generate energy so that the boat can move faster, right? So that's the right problem. And whenever you do this 4-step process, which is actually very simple, you utilize many different notions from Iceberg problem solving skills, and you get to do less things that bring you more results, which is really exciting because most people don't understand this. They think that task management and like all this productivity game is about doing more and doing kind of like the right thing, right? That's not the case at all. It's about identifying the right problem to solve, okay? So this is the 4-step process. Whenever a thing arrives to you that demands your attention, you identify precisely what it is. That's the first thing to do because this identification has very high suggestive value. It actually pinpoints to usually this thing being a project, not just a task, okay? So in my case, it was a friend reaching out and helping her to brainstorm this stuff for the problems that she's considering. And it's actually not about helping her to brainstorm this. It's about helping her to solve her problem. So that's the project. That's the second step in our Iceberg process. And then by asking, what is the problem that this project is supposed to solve? We actually level up a little bit more to the problem level, to the third level. And then the 4th step is to identify the right problem. Okay, because the right problem is actually going to be very often different than the original kind of as-is description as it put by the person who sent you this task or whatever that might be, or the first thought that you had about this problem that you're going to solve. So that's level 4. And when you identify the right problem to solve, you can actually come up with a much better solution on the project or the task level. And you have to do less things, so you can save more time and enjoy spending it on something that matters. Thank you guys very much for watching. See you tomorrow.